Today we're going to talk a little bit about PVA tape. It's not as commonly used, I guess, as PVA bags and PVA mesh, but it definitely has a place in carp fishing. So the first use for the PVA tape is just a simple, humble stringer. The advantage of using PVA tape over PVA string will become apparent in a minute. The problem with PVA string is once you've put the boilie on, the boilie becomes quite loose. With PVA tape, as you can see, the boilie is held in place, and that allows for you to create spacing between the baits. And in winter, PVA tape again is very useful, because as the water level, the water temperatures drop, some PVA doesn't melt, and when you've got all the boilies bunched up on a stringer, it's very hard for the water to get through and actually dissolve and break the PVA. So we're just going to take some baits and put them on one at a time to create a stringer, and I'll demonstrate what I mean by the advantage of using tape over string is that I can get the separation, so that when the bait goes onto the deck and dissolves, it'll be nicely spread. So if you're fishing a nice spread of boilie effect, the last thing you really want is to have your hook bait with 3 or 4 baits jammed right up next to it, which happens with PVA string. You also want to mimic a spread of boilies next to your hook bait, and by using tape you can mimic that. I've put the last one through and I've left that as a double loop. The reason for that is we then come to the rig. It's a very basic rig, and we just thread that hook through the tape and there we are, secured. And as you can see, we just hold that up. It's all very nice and easy. The other advantage with PVA tape is if we want to make a circle and keep those baits closer, we can just lift it and hook it through. So there you have it, a bit like PVA string, but with a subtle difference that can give definite advantages on the waters that you're fishing. The next good thing about PVA tape is that if you're fishing a lake that's got a lot of debris on the bottom, a lot of reed, etc., you can take a piece of PVA tape, cut it off, and then with the tape you can go around quite easily, give it a little lick, trim it up, and you protect your hook point. And that means that when your hook's going through the water, laying on the bottom, it's not going to pick up any debris, any twigs, any leaves. And especially during the autumn when the leaves are coming off the trees, etc., most lake beds can be littered with them, and that again is another use for the PVA tape. If you use bigger baits, if you go to some day ticket waters, you might be tempted to put a rod out for catfish. There's a growing trend now for catfish in these day ticket waters, and you're using the big halibut pellets. We also do a much thicker tape, which is ideally suited for the bigger baits, such as those big halibut pellets that I've just mentioned. That's the regular one that I use most of the time, and that illustrates the difference in thickness. So there you have it, PVA tape, a decent product, and it gives you an edge. Thank you very much.